Triple P. Triple P. Triple P. Panels for comics, turn the page, ink in the margins, front to stage. Piledrivers for wrestling, crowd goes wild. Place for good food, served up style. One name, 3 lanes, here we roll. Turn it up, let it go, let it go. Triple P, 3 things we love. Triple P, turn it up loud. Panels, Piledrivers Plates.
Hello and welcome in for the inaugural edition of our brand new podcast, Triple P, Panels, Piledrivers and Plates with Josh Newell. Josh Newell is the owner and promoter of Bayou Independent Wrestling and the author of the upcoming comic book Castle Aiden.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to doing this with you every week.
I've lost your video. Josh.
You lost my video?
Yeah, you're just
still.
I don't see you.
Huh. I can see you. It says everyone can see and hear me, but
Let me go to the chat. Matthew Elvis Presley, thanks for joining us. Amy Vaughn. Hey, Amy, can y'all see Josh? Because I can't. I'm Super Dave. I'll be the co-host of this venture. Yeah, Josh, we don't have you.
I don't know. I can see all y'all.
Turn off your camera and turn it back on. He was... There you are.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go. Face for radio. Turn it back off. I'm just
There
kidding.
you go. I'm working on it.
Well, Josh, let's tell everybody what we're planning on accomplishing with this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to have a wide range of topics every week. With the PPP, that's standing for panels, which is comics, Piledrivers and wrestling, and plates, which is food. And I doubt that we'll stop at those 3 topics. I'm pretty sure some other topics will be thrown in there here and there. But that will be the 3 main things that we try and talk about every week, which is 3 things that I really enjoy, and I know it's 3 things that you really enjoy.
I do.
So we're just going to try and bring some information to everybody about projects that I'm working on, but also just in general. We're definitely going to talk some in general wrestling news, some in general comic stuff, and then food. It'll just be places that, me and you enjoy, or places that are on our radar to check out, or maybe some things we don't like here and there and some things we do like typically.
Well, cool. I'm excited to be doing this with you. You got me back out there, and I went to the comic book store first time in a long time.
All right. Which one did you go to? Vans?
Well, actually, I was in Dallas.
Okay.
And I went to I'm completely blacking out on it. It was in the Firewheel in Garland at Firewheel. It's been there forever.
There's a ton of great comic shops.
Yeah, you don't have a shortage out there.
No, not at all.
But you recommended Absolute Batman to me.
Yep.
I just couldn't do it a little bit. I went and bought the graphic novel, the hardcover with Jim Lee artwork. Jim Lee, make no bones about it, Jim Lee is my favorite comic book artist.
Okay. You're not alone. There's a lot of people.
I love Jim Lee's work, the way he draws Superman, the way he draws Batman, the way he draws anybody. But I wasn't ready. When I got introduced to the Absolute Universe. This is really cool.
It's different, but it still feels like characters that you know and love.
Just a different take.
Yeah, it puts a nice twist on it, and it gives the writers a chance to do something a little different. Absolute Batman is the #1 selling comic book in the world right now.
They've already greenlit the animated series. So
absolutely. It's my wife's favorite comic book. We have a pull list that we get, every week, and that's the one my wife looks forward to the most.
Well, we're going to be going. I mean, my number one source is going to be I'll have to go to Vans. I don't know that there's anybody else.
Right. I think there's one more shop in Jackson or around Jackson, but Vans is definitely the number one shop.
Yeah.
And our artist, Jason Turner, who's from Jackson, he actually peeks his head in there every now and then and buys stuff.
They have his art on the wall in there.
Yeah. So
yeah, they're very helpful over there. I stopped by there because I blew right through the first story arc.
So the first one's what, the zoo?
The first one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then the second one has Bane on the cover, and I haven't got into it yet.
Okay.
I really like the Alfred character. I like how they're doing Alfred.
Yeah, we have the first two in trade paperback, and then since then we've been collecting them in single issues every week. Because I went away from collecting comics for 13, 14 years, and I started back in January. So January, I started picking up trades and just kind of some things that I thought I might like. And then by February, I kind of had a grasp on what was coming out, what I knew I would like, and we started getting kind of monthly issues at that point.
Well, before we talk about what you have going on, let's dig into your comic fandom. I mean, you got away from it, but when you were rolling hard into it, what was your go-to comics?
Yeah, and around 95, 96. I mean, mind you, I was born in 83. So I'm a 12, 13-year-old riding my bike about a mile from the house so I could get to the comic shop. And those guys, of course, me being a kid, they wanted to get me hooked. So they were showing me Batman and different things. And I'd already knew Batman from the movies and stuff like that and some cartoons. But I loved G.I. Joe, the cartoon, already. So they told me there was a G.I. Joe comic book, and I was a kid in a candy store because I was like, what? G.I. Joe? So obviously I went to G.I. Joe first. But it already had a long history and a lot of issues out. So my initial fandom wasn't, I liked G.I. Joe, but I didn't really fall in love. So in 96, I believe, Nightwing had its very first solo issue, written by Chuck Dixon, and artist was Scott McDaniel. And it was my first number one of a series that I was going to collect. I had grabbed a few random number ones here and there in that year that I'd been kind of going to the comic shop. But this was my first number one. Like, I was going to collect it every month from issue 1 until it shut down. And Chuck Dixon was writing it, who I liked on like Detective Comics and some other stuff. So I was really, really excited. And then I fell in love with Nightwing. Scott McDaniel actually is doing a cover for us for issue 3. I wish I could share it with people already because I already have it turned in. But it's amazing. It's so beautiful.
Well, I'm like you, Nightwing. I had that, and I collected that. I did collect that series. I've always been a fan of Dick Grayson.
Oh yeah,
and what got me back into comics was just a few years before you started. I had comic books when I was a little kid, but I didn't really religiously go. We didn't have comic book stores.
Right.
But I had seen an article that was on the news, and they put a 1-900 number in the back of a comic book, whether Robin lived or died.
Right.
And I'm like, they're killing Robin?
You were one of the ones that called the number, huh?
Well, no, I didn't know what they were talking about. And so I went to Lone Star Comics and Science Fiction. That's a big chain in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I asked them, I said, hey, I hear that they're killing Robin. And they got me the Death in the Family. They had to trade. They actually had trade paperback of it by then. And I'd already missed the voting. But after I read it, I would have voted, yeah, kill him. But I didn't know that Dick Grayson wasn't Robin anymore. I didn't know that Jason Todd was Robin. And so then I started going and getting back issues, trying to the introduction to Jason Todd and his story.
Right. Yeah. At this point, there's been a lot of Robins.
Yeah. And well, then we got, Tim Drake comes in and figures it all out. And then eventually in 2006, Damian Wayne shows up.
Yep.
But did you know that they teased Damian Wayne in 1987.
No, I didn't know that.
And we talked about that we're going to do some exchanging of some graphic novels. I'll go ahead and recommend mine. Batman, Son of the Demon. Of course, I found it in hardback back then.
Right.
But that's a whole story arc. It's a Ra's al Ghul storyline. And he wants Batman to be his successor. And, of course, Batman, we know Batman's relationship with Talia. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. But the last page of this comic book, and when I read it, thought that was so screwed up. And you got to keep in mind that I'm an adult now reading them.
Right. Well,
But-
comics, I mean, there are comics that are still geared for kids, but it's a very small group of the comics. Comics is mainly for adults these days. That's for sure.
Well, back then, I loved it because I started wanting to get back issues.
Right.
And I had a list and I'm trying to fill in the blanks. And I had Detective and Batman from like 1980 through 1997, 98.
Wow.
I had them all. And I would go to comic book conventions, like they had one the day after Thanksgiving, and I'd have a list, a checklist, and I'd go looking at back. I'd go through back issues and I could check them off. And
Right.
we didn't have the internet.
Right.
And I found my last comic. I think it was Batman 115 or something like that. I'm trying to remember why it was so hard to get. And it could have been the debut of Jason Todd as Robin. It was something significant. I paid like $115 for this comic book,
Wow.
but I found it on AOL at Mile High Comics in Denver. And that was the first time I'd bought something off the internet.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we had, but I couldn't find that book, and I'd been everywhere. Comic book conventions. I've been through every store in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but that was fun. Just having a checklist, and I did the same thing with the Teen Titans. Like I had the first 55 issues, and then I liked the question with Vic Sage, the question.
Right.
So I had the first 50 something comics of that. I love Vic Sage, and I would love for James Gunn to do something with the question. I think it'd be with the technology they're using for the Clayface, they could do the question. And for y'all that don't know, the question is a detective. Actually, he was a newsman that was a vigilante, but he would put this mask on and spray it with this stuff, and he had no face.
Right. Yeah, when I moved from Alexandria to Monroe to be the general manager of the Books A Million there in Alexandria, this was probably 13, 14 years ago at this point, I gave away all of my comics, and it was probably around 8 to 10,000. I mean, I helped this man load 50, 60 boxes into his Jeep. And I regret it so much looking back, but at the time, I didn't want to move 60 boxes to Alexandria, and I didn't have no place to put it in the little house we were going to rent either. So, I mean, it just felt like the right thing to do. But looking back, I wish I had those 60 boxes of comics that I gave away.
Yeah, I sold mine, but I had well over 10,000 comic books. I mean, just the long boxes.
Right.
They were not easy to. And then I got into it hard and heavy where I was getting lithographs. Like I had Bob Kane Batman. I had several Bob Kane Batmans, the George Perez, and I can't think of the other guy, but they did like 50th anniversary of Superman. I had the 50th anniversary of Batman where 1939, 1989 by Bob Kane. And I would get the collectible lithographs, and I would get the porcelain statues, and I've still got a lot of them. And my daughter's got all my lithographs.
Right.
I just kind of got out of it. It was a very expensive hobby.
It still is.
And a few years ago, I got back into it, and really, and I enjoyed it.
And it doesn't have to be expensive, but it definitely can be. You can set yourself a limit to whatever, you're comfortable with. Like when we first started coming back to collecting comic books on a monthly basis, we set our limit to $50 for the month. And at today's prices, you're looking at 10 or so comics for the month. So we picked this 10 out that we really wanted to read every month. Now we've upped it to about $100 a month, and I try and stay, within that every month. So, I mean, yes, it definitely can be expensive, but if you just want to find one or two titles that you just want to look forward to and read every month, you can still, for $10, find you, two titles that every month you can go up to the comic book shop and get and have something to look forward to and enjoy.
Yeah, I would get I tried to mostly collect Batman. I was in and out on Superman because there's just so much they mess with him so much.
Yeah.
And the whole with the kids and but another thing that gets me is that then they'll come out with alternate covers.
Oh yeah. As you're going to see on cover 8.
Yeah, I know.
Here lately.
Oh yeah, I supported the Kickstarter with the 4 different covers. I mean, that was right up my alley.
You're not alone. That's a lot of people's alley.
But I mean, I did that with Action 1000, Detective 1000, getting them all. I mean, I had to have them all, and then I was trying to figure out how to get the ultra rare ones.
Don't do that with Spider-Man 1000 that's about to come out because there are so many covers. You'll have to buy like 50 covers. So, and it might not be 50, but it's a lot.
Do you remember when McFarlane came out? When McFarlane did Spider-Man, got his own Spider-Man series.
Oh yeah.
And that first 5 issues and all the different alternate covers and
they were basically forming Image when I started. Todd and that whole group, Liefeld and all those guys. So basically when I got started was just before they all branched off and went to Image. So I was right there for like Spawn #1 and stuff like that when they were really getting Image going. Savage Dragon, which is still going to this day.
I really enjoyed Shadowhawk and Pitt.
Yeah. Liefeld's brought Youngblood back and Braddock and all those guys. So Witchblade's still going. Darkness is still going. So a lot of those old original Image titles are still around. Now, they took breaks except for Spawn and Savage Dragon. Well, Savage Dragon has taken some breaks, but not real breaks. Just where it might take him a few months because Larson still does all the work for it. So, like, nobody else writes it. He draws it. Like, he's a beast. But that's still coming out to this day. So that tells you the dedication that he's had with that product. But yeah, Image was just coming out, but I'd seen some of Todd's work for Marvel because once I got in, you couldn't help but see some of those guys' different covers and things they did. They were also talented. All the ones that left to go to Image were so talented.
Well, now you've been motivated to write your own comic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an adventure, that's for sure.
So, I mean, I can see that. I can understand that you would be. I mean, you're very creative. Anybody knows you knows that you're very creative, man. What was the motivation? I mean, I understand that you being a comic fan. Hey, I'd like to write my own comic. I get that, but what was the inspiration for Castle Aiden?
Well, just like with wrestling, I've been a comic book fan most of my life. So with the wrestling, I took that and I ran with it and I started a promotion. Well, doing a comic book is a whole different thing. Plus, my drawing ability is about a stick figure level, if that. So, I mean, it's not like I'm ever going to draw anything because nobody wants to see that. But I finished my novel and I wrote the novel and I enjoyed it and it was fun and we're looking at getting that published now too. But I was like, man, this wasn't quite. I didn't fall in love with writing the novel, but I love writing because I mean I've been doing these wrestling scripts forever and just different things. But I was like, there's something else. Like this isn't. I'm probably not meant to write 50 novels. This probably isn't what I'm meant to do. And I started kind of tinkering with my love of superheroes again and putting some thoughts down on paper and different things. And I was like, you know what? If I can write a book, I can start a wrestling company. I can get my real estate license. I can be a homeowner. I can do all these things. I can probably do a comic book. How do I do this? So, I started watching videos and different things. I reached out to our cameraman, Keith Hall, who's worked on a few comic books of his own, reached out to Mark Bandy, who I used to play cards with because I was a diehard Magic the Gathering card player for a decade. I mean, I've been all over the United States playing. And me and him used to play a lot, and he has his own comic book and even created his own studio out there in Arizona. So I kind of talked to him a little bit, and then I started doing research. I was looking up artists, and Texas has so many artists. Texas has a ton of artists. So I started searching these groups and different things and looking at conventions and seeing who was busy, who was not, checking out their work. And I wanted somebody that was close enough that I could drive to and like reach out and touch if I had a problem or if I wasn't understanding something. So Jason Turner was one of the ones that jumped out to me there in Jackson, because it was like, I can get to Jackson. You know, I can go eat some good food either in Vicksburg or Jackson on the drive, or I can stop on my way to Brookhaven if it's in between a wrestling show, but I can get to Jackson, Mississippi. So I started looking at Jason's work a little more, and he had done some covers for Godzilla and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and Feral and just a bunch of cool stuff. And I was like, I think this is the guy. And then I talked to him, and you know, he was down, he was into it, and we met here in West Monroe at Traps, and we talked for about an hour and a half. And by the end of it, we were starting a comic book together, and that was early February. I've also always liked knights and kings and queens and political intrigue and dragons and stuff like that. So it just felt perfect for me to jump into writing comics in that world. I'm not saying I'll never do like a superhero thing, but that's not really my cup of tea. If I do one, it'll probably be like a street level character, like a Batman or a Daredevil or somebody. I guess my brain doesn't work in the way to do like a Superman or a Green Lantern. I would just like show up and have him land one punch and like the thing would be over. Yeah. And that's such a boring read. So my mind just doesn't work at like that super, super powerful level. I can do lots of creative things with twists and, you know, little crumbs here and there of where the story's going. I can do that. I do that with the wrestling. But as far as just having a character that's super powerful, that's just not something that right now, at least, is in my head and I'm capable to do. So you would never want me to write Superman, but I could probably give you a decent like Catwoman story. You know, I could probably do that.
Those are fun. I mean, those are fun comics for me when they take a supporting character and branch them out onto their own stories, and especially people that are tied into Batman because they don't really have any superpowers.
Right. And of course, the Bat family at this point, say you're a comic book fan and you're like, you know what? I'm going to do everything Batman. I want to follow Batman.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, you better buckle up because you're going to have to get Absolute Batman. You're going to have to get Batman. You're going to have to get Detective Comics. You're going to have to get Poison Ivy, Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, Batgirl. There's an Absolute Catwoman running right now. They're about to do an event called Bad Seeds, which is going to tie all these in to each other. But Harley Quinn's in there too. But they're also starting Gotham Central again, and they're doing like a Gotham General, which is like going to be like a hospital one. So if you wanted to follow all of Batman, you would probably spend about $75 to $100 a month.
Oh yeah, you got Red Robin, Red Hood.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, and if you want to follow them in the Titans as well, yeah. So there's all sorts of stuff, but. Us in particular, we love Batman. We're always going to collect one or two Batman titles, but we don't get everything. We've narrowed it down right now to Absolute Batman is on her must-pull list, and I get Detective Comics for me. And I read Absolute Batman too, but it's definitely on our list for Kristen.
Does Detective Comics, do they arc over into Batman to make you buy both of them?
No, it's typically,
they used to do that pretty regular.
It's typically their own thing. Now, for this event coming up called Bad Seeds, yes, everything is going to kind of tie together a little bit, but normally it does not. And back in the day, Detective Comics was my favorite because it focused on like just the detective side of Batman. So if you wanted the big crazy stuff, you would go read Batman. But if you wanted like the detective work and the ins and outs of that, you would read Detective Comics. Now, I wouldn't say it has to focus on the detective side of things in that book. It does still some, but it's not a guarantee. Where back in the day, you knew you were getting a detective story in Batman Detective Comics.
Right.
So.
Well, let's show everybody what you're doing.
Absolutely. So this cover here was done by Derek Donovan, who actually has worked for DC and Marvel and different things. He started working for them back in the 90s. So you can definitely Google Derek and find all sorts of work he's done with characters like Superman, Green Lantern, stuff like that. So I was honored to. He also lives in New Orleans, and again, my mind. I love to support the South and do things here in the South, and I just that's the first thing that branched out to me was Southern talent, and with Derek living in New Orleans, plus his background of 30-something years in comics, I was like, yeah, we're getting Derek, and I can't go into too much detail about what exactly is happening here because it'll give away some of the story.
Right.
But once you read it, you'll kind of definitely see the conflicting reason of why this comes here.
Can you tell us who this character is?
Yeah, his name is Jarrell. He's one of the 7 members of the Inner Circle. And the Inner Circle is a group of knights that are loyal to the king, that all have a special skill set, and that he can call on for the toughest of missions. So he really trusts his Inner Circle. And then this is our king. This is King Marcus Reigns.
I think this is my favorite image out of everything that you've shown me so far.
Okay. It's going to be hard to beat, that's for sure. Right now, spoiler alert, that's the #1 seller on Kickstarter right there. They've all been selling good. A lot of people have been picking the all 4 covers, but that one does have the lead by a little bit. That's also on one of our shirts, and that's by our main artist, Jason Turner. So the interior of the book, that's the same guy that did that.
It's very, very impressive.
And he's going to do a cover on each book. That was kind of part of our deal. So like issue 2, there will be a Jason Turner cover book. On issue 3, there will be. On issue 4, there will be, and so on. Now, the other artist will rotate, and that'll be a way for us to show y'all so much variety, but also get more people involved, because not only will we be trying to spread our gospel and our information, but as we bring other artists in, their fans are going to hear about Castle Aiden too. So like next issue, Tone Rodriguez did a cover for us, which is amazing. It's so good. He's another guy that's been in comics for 30 plus years. He did a cover for issue 2 that's so good. But
what's some of his background?
We're going to get to share it. Well, right now he's working on Feral. He lives here in Louisiana right now, but he's from LA originally. He's a big wrestling fan as well. We sat and talked about XPW for an hour last time we sat down and talked, because he was there during the XPW ECW feuds. So he had some very interesting stories about like Heyman and Sabu and Shane Douglas and some of those guys. So one day we'll get him on here and have him talk, because he's a fun guy. But he's doing Feral right now, which is one of Image's top comic books. And they did Stray Dog together too, which we loved. Me and my wife both love Stray Dogs. But I mean, he goes way back. And his cover it's up there. It might be my favorite so far, but I have 3 or 4 in my inbox that I haven't been able to share yet. They're just all so hard to pick from. But like Tone and his fans will see issue 2, because he'll share that he did a cover for that. So we'll bring his fan base in.
Well, Saturday you'll have to show it to me. You may not be able to send it to me, but you can open it up and show me. Yeah,
I'll give you a sneak peek on Saturday, but it's amazing. And he did it very fast too, because covers take a long time. It's a lot of work to do a cover, but once Tone gets excited, he's one of those guys that can just kind of run with it. And he did it in about a day and a half, and not like the full day and a half, but he had it done in about 2 days showing me, and I was just speechless.
This is an interesting style.
Yeah, this was something a little different, using some paint and some different other strategies. But our letterer, DJ Don Jason Hall, did this one. He's doing all the lettering for all the issues of Castle Aiden, but he did this cover as well. And it's so unique, and there's lots of little details. You really got to zoom in on some of the people in the background to get the full cover.
It looks like a still from a comic book. I mean, from a cartoon.
Yeah. And I gave him an outline of what I wanted for this one. So he didn't have complete full reign on what to do. So I'm sure he was cussing me as he was adding in all those details in the background. He was like, "Oh, that dang Josh, I could have finished this 2 hours earlier." Rah, rah, rah. But
Hey,
him and
Josh,
Derek,
let me ask you, do you see the chat?
no,
You,
I don't see the chat.
we have a live chat. We have people that are actually watching and commenting as we go. I don't know if you figure out on there how to open it up.
That might have to be a next week thing, but read something off to me if we got some questions.
We got Matt Presley with us. We got Amy Vaughn with us.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Matt.
Sam's here from the 318 Wrestling Channel. We appreciate everything Sam does.
Yep, we'll see Sam Saturday.
Yeah. Perel Epting just commented about you independent wrestling. Darren Staley's with us. Darren Staley, Darren Staley will distract you because he's quite hilarious in the chat.
Okay.
Miss Ginger's with us.
It might be good.
Ginger.
I can't see the chat then.
I'll put Ginger's comment up there. And then Billy's with us. Hi, Billy.
Hey, Billy. Hey, Ginger.
So I wanted to let you know that we do actually have people watching and they comment and follow along in the chat.
Yeah, next week we'll mess with it before we come on the air and get it to where I can definitely see all that.
Okay. Let's bring the next one up. Here's a map. Is it August or Agus?
Agus. And this took the DJ also did this. So the guy that just did the cover that you showed did this. And I told him I wanted a map and I gave him some cities and, locations and different things that I wanted. And I was expecting, a map. I was expecting something quality, but he blew me away with the details that he added and, being able to see like there's a farmland for Libster and then the castles and then the water. And you can see where the little sea monster is in the bottom right. And dragons over on that kind of bottom tier left. And that's very accurate. The snow is down at the bottom. Manzus has desert. So there's just so many things that he was able to get on there. That
I see muddy waters.
Yeah, there's a muddy waters. That's actually a big part of the story. It's also a big part of BIW.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I picked up on that.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of wrestling things in there that people can pick up on if they follow. Like one of the characters' name is Anthony Saxon.
Ah.
Well, if you followed BIW for the last 19 years, you're well aware of a John Saxon and you're well aware of a Steve Anthony. So, there's an Anthony Saxon in there. So there's going to be lots of little tidbits. Same in my book that I wrote, like Roosters in my book. I put a few other people I know and locations that I frequent in the book. Change the names, but it's definitely in there. They'll know
Rooster needs to be in your comic book.
Well, he can't be in the medieval one, but I am working on another one called Dark Minds, which is going to be a Mississippi cop living close to an Indian reservation. And they could use a lawyer in that book. So, but that one's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. We're going to get started on it in November, which means we would hope to get it out to the world kind of this time next year. So comics take a long time. People don't really realize I can write the script in a couple days, a week, whatever. But as far as getting the pencils done, the inking done, the coloring done, the lettering done, the production done, the printing done, the marketing done, you're talking about one issue of the comic book. We started this in February, and we're just now going to Kickstarter. We could have went a little faster, but I mean, that's roughly how long it's going to take.
If you had the opportunity to attend a Comic-Con, and it's an actual true Comic-Con that it still has comic book artists and that attend, do yourself a favor and find one of these artists and commission them to draw you a picture. It's like, just, I had a guy, his name was Jackson. I apologize because it's been 35, maybe 40 years ago, at least 35 years ago. But I commissioned him to draw me a picture of Batman, a black and white pen, and he took his pencil and he sat there and I watched him do. He didn't. It's not like he drew the head and then he would just do like certain things to lay it out, and then he would make it all connect.
Yeah, at first, when you're watching a good artist do their thing, you're like, "What the heck is he doing?"
And I don't know how long it took. At least 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
But to watch him sit there and just watch them apply their craft, and then realize how many they have to do
Oh yeah.
to
And
make
like
the
that page that's up right now, I don't know Jason's actual count time on each page or anything, but we've kind of talked about the average. That's 4 panels. I know that castle took him a little longer to draw than most things, but it's a 4 panel page. It probably took him 10 hours, 9 hours to do that page. And there's 20 interior pages in the book, plus the cover, some ads, a couple other things. But he had to do 20 pages for the book. And, you do the math, and they take between 8 hours and, let's say, on the high end, maybe 12 or 13 if it's a complicated page. That's a lot of time that the artist has to put into the book.
yeah.
And not only this page isn't done at that point, now it also has to be colored. And then once it's colored, it goes to the letterer to add in the text. So, a page in the comic book is really, if you count my writing, 16, 17 hours of work to get one page put together. And you don't really think like that when you're thinking of a comic book, but when you start actually putting it together and doing it, that's the truth. It's just that much work to kind of get it done. This is the only page we put out so far that has any text in it. So if you want any inkling of the story, that's the only page that you can kind of zoom in and hear a little bit about the story. But to kind of do a rundown of it, it's basically a kid that feels like he's let his dad down, which I feel like we've all probably been in that spot before. And maybe not your dad, maybe it's your mother, but we've kind of all been in that spot before.
So, what is give us the summary, a synopsis of what Castle Aiden is?
Yeah. So like Castle Aiden's going to end up being a lot of things. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you know that started one way and then it went about 175,000 different directions. And that's, similar-ish to where this world's going to be and what's going to happen. But the gist of it is this king, Marcus Reigns, who you can see in this one, is going to be giving his all to teach his son, Leland, who's the prince there, to be a good man and a good future king in a very bad world. And he's going to do his best to make sure that his son has high morals, does the right thing, stands up for people, makes tough decisions. And that's not going to be easiest to do in a lot of times. There's going to be a lot of times there was an easier answer. And his dad's going to challenge him to always do the right thing, not necessarily the easy thing. We're also going to introduce some characters around Leland and Marcus that are going to make it more interesting. In issue 2, you're going to meet Baymore. He actually has a cameo at the very, very, very end of this issue, but really we meet him in issue 2, and he's a warrior. He's your Conan. He's your badass. He's your drink beer, let's fight. And he has a soft spot for the king and the prince, but it's kind of conflicting because the king wants Baymore to teach him how to fight, but he doesn't necessarily want Baymore to be the one to teach him morals and how to make certain choices and things like that. But Leland is obsessed with Baymore. He loves everything about Baymore. So it's like your dad's telling you one thing, but Michael Jordan over here on the TV is telling you all these other things. And you're kind of like, dang, do I listen to my dad or I want to be like Mike? Should I listen to Mike? And it's kind of one of those battles for Leland throughout the early issues of the book, because he's going to be put in some situations that, Baymore's a little rough around the edges where Dad would probably handle it a little different way. But don't get it twisted. Marcus ain't weak. He might be noble. He might be, a deep thinker. He might be for the people, but he ain't weak. When it's time to draw a sword or to make a decision, he will make it. He kind of reminds me of like Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, if you watch the TV show. Marcus kind of reminds me of Ned, where everybody knows he's not a pushover. He's a fair man, but he's a hard man. And if he has to do something that the majority don't like, but he feels it's what's just, he'll do it.
What about we've got all these warriors, so they got to have somebody to fight. Or are all the villains outside of Castle Aiden, or do we have somebody? Do we have some snake? Will we have a snake in the grass?
There's some rumors and some later issues about a possible snake in the grass. we can't confirm or deny that quite yet.
Okay.
But there does seem to be some rumors that there is some people in the castle that might be working against the king. But there is definitely a kingdom called Castle Red Rock that is also, if you go back to the map, in Dillingham with Castle Aiden. They're both in the same little area, and they do have some beef with each other, and there's going to be some discussions had with words, but also with fists between those two castles for sure. And from my point of view, I definitely think Castle Aiden is the good guys and Red Rock is the bad guys. But somebody else might read it and be like, you know what, I kind of understand where Red Rock's coming from, and that's okay. When you're watching Game of Thrones, to go back to Game of Thrones, I was a fan of like Starks and Winterfell and all that, but I know lots of people that had other castles and different things that they were fans of and that they enjoyed watching. Some people really like the Lannisters. I couldn't stand the Lannisters. I wanted the Lannisters to die, but I know people that's their favorite part of the show and their favorite part of the book. So Castle Aiden, I think that you're going to end up rooting for the Castle Aiden side of things, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people out there that once the story unfolds, they have a soft spot for Castle Red Rock or some of the other regions that we're going to discover.
Is there a queen, or is the king a single parent?
The king childbirth with Leland. So the king has vowed to never marry again, which makes his throne and his power a little cautious because he only has the one son and
right.
he has no wife. So he's never going to have another kid. So if something was to happen to Leland, what happens to his line? That's going to be another thing that we kind of tackle. And you'll see Baymore as the story unfolds. You'll see Baymore kind of like hinting at him like, look, I know you made this promise, but your son would like to see you happy. He would like to see you with someone that makes you happy and cares about you. So he knows he doesn't have to be the only person worrying about you. But also it would help the kingdom if you were with somebody again. You should consider it. And he keeps brushing Baymore off. We'll see if he changes his mind down the road. But as of right now, he's pretty stern on the I'm not allowing anybody into my life.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and again, we're going to play a lot with the dynamic of how fragile that makes his line. Because again, there's no way to create another heir, and he only has the one son. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some attempts on some people's lives were done because of that. Possible spoiler alert.
Okay. Well, producing a comic book sounds like it's a very expensive endeavor, just from the artist and the hours alone.
Yeah. And again, every artist and everybody's different. So you'll end up negotiating your price as the creator and the writer with whoever you hire. Level of experience will come into there. What they've done. Have they worked for Marvel? Have they worked for DC? Are they brand new? Are they fresh out of college looking to make a name for themselves? You can get just about any price range you want, but know that you're also going to get way different levels of quality and ability because of that as well. So it's hard to find, like as a new creator, when I started BIW, I knew that BIW would never be WWE, WCW, any of those. But I also didn't want to just be another independent that was like everybody else that we already had. That was important to me. So I booked talent that was what I felt, and sometimes I've been wrong over the years, but I booked talent that I felt was at a certain level. And if they couldn't reach that level, we didn't have them partake in BIW. There were other places they could go, but we didn't want them at BIW. So it wasn't 20 shows of 20 ex-WWE guys showing up on our show, but it also was a bunch of guys that had looks from WWE or different things. So I wasn't going the all-in former WWE or TNA or whatever route, but I also wanted experienced journeyman independent wrestlers that had been a lot of places. And some of them did make it, and some of them came close. And that's what I focused on. And the comic book was kind of the same thing. I knew I couldn't afford, say you said Jim Lee was your favorite earlier. It's not like I was picking up the phone and promising Jim Lee enough money to get him to come do my pages. That wasn't happening.
Well,
but I also wasn't going to the college level either over here to ULM and grabbing some expiring artists that would do it for free or little to nothing either. I wanted somewhere in the middle that I could afford but still be very proud of what we were doing and what we had going on. And that's why, I think Jason was the perfect pick because he has done some amazing things already, and I'm excited about getting more eyes on him as well.
Yeah. Well, and he's done. I mean, the people that you've named have done some things. That's right out of the gate. That lends credibility to your project.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but I gotta imagine Eastman and Laird when they came out with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were in black and white.
Yeah.
And that might have been a financial decision. Maybe trying to ink those comics would have pushed them over the edge. I mean, would have broke the budget.
Yeah, sometimes it's an artistic view that you prefer it black and white, but a lot of times it is a financial. If you don't know how something's going to go, you can put it out black and white for a lot cheaper than colors. Because, I mean, just looking at price per pages, I don't have the chart right in front of me, but I want to say it's about a 10 to 18 cent difference per page, and you do that per book. So, and that's for a 20-page book. It might even be higher if you start talking about a 32-page book. So, I mean, I'm sure it is a little higher. So you talk about 18 cents cheaper per page, 20 pages in the book, and then you do that times the 500 to 600 that I'm planning on printing. But if you're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're probably going to print 30,000, 40,000, whatever. That's a lot of cash. Plus somebody to actually color it. That's a part of the fee as well. So that there is a big difference. That's why I was tinkering with our comic book's 24 pages. There's 20 interior, and then the cover, the inside cover, the back cover, and the inside of it all count as a page too. So it's 24 pages. And we talked about doing 28, so 24 interior. But to add those 4 pages, by the time we copied the books, paid for the art, paid for everything, you're talking about over $1,000 to add the 4 pages. And I was just like, ooh, that hurts. Let's do 20 and leave it at a cliffhanger and do it to be continued here. And that might change down the road. But I have learned the first 4 issues, 20 was perfect. Like I felt perfect at 20. The last 2 that I wrote, because I wrote the first 6 issues, as the story's gotten more bones to it and there's more characters and there's more twists and there's more things. Now I'm like struggling at 20. I'm like, man, I really could use another 4 to 8 pages. So it's been interesting watching that part of the journey too. And eventually, if it's popular enough, we probably will add the 4 pages, to be honest, because I would love to be at 24 interior pages and then the 4 other pages. So,
well, we're trying to get this project off the ground. So Josh has a Kickstarter, and if you don't know what a Kickstarter is, it's your opportunity to get in on the ground floor to help out getting a project launched. We have a lot of wrestling fans, and a lot of if you're following over, if you're part of the Mark Out Moment audience, the Talking Wrestling audience, you know that Tony Schiavone's comic book was done with a Kickstarter. Arn Anderson's comic book was done with a Kickstarter. Currently, Guy Evans is writing Hulk Hogan deep dive, and he used Kickstarter to help fund this project. And let's talk about with some of the incentives to get on board and help out with this project, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with Kickstarter, I've had lots of our wrestling fans who have never done it before. So you go to Kickstarter.com, and Dave just, he backed this project. He's one of the first ones to back this. But that was your first time signing up on Kickstarter.
No. Right? I backed Tony Schiavone and Arn Anderson's.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a Kickstarter for a while.
It's a pretty easy process. Yeah, it's pretty easy process, though. You go to Kickstarter.com, you log in, it'll get some base information for you. One of the things is when you type in Castle Aiden, you search it, you pick out which thing you want, which we're going to go through those. You don't have to pay right away. You pay, in our case, August 13th when the project ends, and only if it gets funded. So if something happens and a project doesn't quite reach its goal, you won't be charged for that project. Now, with Castle Aiden, we've already reached our goal, thank God. So you will definitely get charged on August 13th. But I've had some people say they were waiting on their check, which is next week or whatever. You can go ahead and pick your goodies now and know that it's not coming out till that August 13th date. So you don't have to stress about it right this second. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there for some of the people that have had questions in my inbox and stuff. But one of the easiest way to get involved in the project is the one that Dave has up on the screen now. That's just the digital copy. You won't get anything in the mail. You won't get a physical copy. You won't get anything like that. But you will get to see the comic book, and you can still support us. So the cheapest, quickest, easiest way to get involved is the one that's up on the screen now. That's the digital version. You'll get it probably early September. You'll have it in your inbox and be able to look at it all you want.
And in the top left corner of the screen, you're going to see that I just put up a QR code. That QR code will take you to the Castle Aiden Kickstarter page.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions, like I said, just inbox me, Josh Newell, Facebook. I respond to stuff every single day. You might not get an answer within 30 minutes or something, but you'll definitely get an answer the same day that you ask. This is that poster that I showed you earlier, the map that we showed earlier. This is the mini poster version that you can get for $10. We're also here soon. We'll show you the big version of the poster. It's 11 by 17 that you can get for $20. And that's the blank cover. A lot of people these days, it used to not be a thing, but a lot of people these days like to get kind of a blank cover and do their own drawing on it, or take it to a convention and get an artist to do a drawing on it. So say you read the book and your favorite character ends up being Leland. Well, you might want to get on the front cover and draw your own Leland and color it. Or you might want to come see Jason Turner or one of our other guys. DJ Hall's an artist too, the guy that does the lettering. You might want to go see one of them and have them do a drawing on it at a convention or something. So that's kind of why the blank covers are a thing nowadays.
I've recently saw a Superman cover that way.
Yeah.
Just
There's some awesome covers out there that are done like that. It's kind of neat. I wish they would have had that back when I was younger. I'll still probably take advantage of it now when I start hitting the conventions heavy next year. But I definitely would have taken advantage of it as a 15, 16-year-old kid.
I may circle back around and add one of these to mine just for that idea of getting Jason to do it for me.
Absolutely. One day, since you're right there around Jackson too, we'll have to time it to where we can all meet up and have lunch or something.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's Jason's cover. That's the cover A for the book. And like I said, Jason will be doing a cover for each one of them. We'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 covers for every single book, but you'll always have a Jason cover. And we're putting that on the bookmarks. That's on one of the shirts. We have 2 shirts, but that's one of the shirts. So I really, 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 really like this cover. It's just, it kind of, to me, lets you know right off the bat that Marcus is somebody not to mess with, and that he's somebody that you better take serious.
Let me ask you about this image that's on the bottom left. It looks like a bear with a bear in its mouth on a guitar pick.
That's their sigil. That'll be on the banners, and that's it's basically a bear that's protecting its cub and, moving it to the next location with him.
Okay.
So that'll be like if you like the lion or the dire wolf for the snows and stuff like that. That's their version. And then this was DJ's cover that I'm sure he cussed me out for, with all the detail in the back. And once people read this, they'll kind of know, because the scene that this is portraying, the king wasn't actually there. So this is basically what he wishes his son would have done and what he would have done if he would have been there. But he wasn't there. So this kind of gives you a glimpse of how he wished it would have went down. And of course, that's Derek's cover. It's a little more expensive than the others, just because, again, like I said earlier, Derek's been all over. He's been with Marvel. He's been with DC. He's done all your top superheroes. So, and that's another one that I kind of gave him an idea on of what I wanted, and it'll make a lot more sense once you kind of read the book.
I get a sense of deja vu when I see this cover. Like I have seen something similar before. It reminds me of a comic book I've seen before,
Okay.
but I can't quite put my finger on it. But it's just like deja vu.
I got you. And then you can get the Jason cover black and white as well with a Virgin on it, which means nothing. It won't have your number 1 on it. It won't have the Castle Aiden logo on it. It's just the artwork. So if that's something that you're wanting, there are people out there that really, really like the Virgin covers. This is your chance to get one of those from us. And then this is the full size of the map, the 11 by 17 here, which the mini poster has been popular so far. We've had several people do the mini poster as an add-on.
But, if you got room, 11 by 17s I've got quite a few 11 by 17s here in my man cave.
Absolutely.
They're not hard to get framed. Framing's very inexpensive for 11 by 17. Mm-hmm. And for $20, you can get that.
Yep. And here's one of those shirts. This is the one with Jason's graphic on it that I was talking about earlier. And we'll have some of these at wrestling shows too in the future, some of the shirts, and I'll probably bring some of the maps.
Oh, well, good.
This is the Baymore shirt, where, again, he's not a big part of issue 1. They talk about him a little bit. But issue 2 is kind of where he kicks into high gear, but he is a main character for sure. So
I like the foreshadowing that the vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, and dragons.
No well, we expect dragons. The vampires and werewolves kind of add a little wrinkle to it. That
we're going to play with a lot of stuff. We're going to have trolls and giants and ogres and cyclopses and witches and good knights, evil knights. We even have a female knight, which is called a dame. I looked that up the other day, to do some of my research. But there's going to be a female knight that's just as tough as the boys, I assure you. But yeah, we're going to have a little bit of everything.
This right here is worth it. If you've ever tried to call Josh on the telephone,
first off, don't call me. I'll call you. You probably won't get me to answer the other way around.
I mean, yeah, I can attest.
But on this one, I just wanted to give people a chance to, if they wanted to reach out and ask them questions about how do you start a comic book, or what was your thought process, or what's a little bit about the book. This was a chance to do that. I really think starting in issue 2 is when this will be a more popular option, because then people can ask me what was going on here in issue 1, what was the thought process, what was the different things, while also letting me tease a little bit about what's going to happen in issue 2.
I can't wait till you do something to piss them off.
I do it in wrestling every single
all the time.
So I probably get 200 people telling me how great a show is, and about 15 people telling me how bad a show is and how negative. But them are the same people that call me as soon as the tickets go out wanting their ticket. So they didn't think it was bad. They just got mad that the bad guy got one over on the good guy that show. But it can't always be the good guy. Nobody wants to follow a story that the good guy wins every single time. And that's in wrestling, that's in comics, that's in TV shows, that's in everything.
Derek Render says he should be getting paid to listen to you.
There you go. See?
And here's this is the one I went with. This is right up my alley. I always fall for the alternate cover gimmick. And
right. Well, we're going to have 4 covers on issue 2, and that's not counting the blank or one of the Virgin covers. So really it'll be 6, but we're going to have 4 as far as colored covers for issue 2. So you're always going to have some that you can get your hands on, Dave, I assure you. But this has been the most popular option by far. We've had way more people get this than anything else. So it's just a way to, if you want to get one to hang up, one to read, one to get signed, you got options that way as well. But yeah, this has been the number 1 seller by far, the 4 cover thing. And there's a lot of people that like getting scripts and different things, and comic scripts aren't the easiest thing to find on the internet. They're definitely out there, but just they're kind of hard to find. So if you really like the first story and you want a signed copy of the script, we can do that for you.
All right.
And then on here, all of our advertisement pages have already been picked. So we had 2 half pages and 1 full page, and they've all already been selected, which is great.
Yeah, I hate that. I missed that.
Well, don't worry, it'll be on issue 2. We'll definitely have it for issue 2. But yeah, the half page was $100, and we had room for 2 of those, which we did get. And then the full was $150, and Keith Hall actually grabbed the full for his upcoming movie. It's kind of a multiverse movie of himself. It's a very interesting concept he's got going. But he's took a full page out, and we'll be promoting it in the book too. This is for stores mainly. I mean, it doesn't have to be a store. It could be somebody with a big family or wants to pass out to friends to try and get them to read. But mainly what we had in mind was different stores. So if Van wanted to reach out and get 10 of them, here's Van's way of calling us or getting 10 of them sent, and then they can sell it for, what price they deem necessary. And then the same just with 20 packs. And it will be cover A that you see there that you get with these. It'll always be the cover A, so the one that Jason does, because we'll always print more versions of it than anything else. And then with here, this is kind of interesting because you can get Jason to draw anybody you want. It doesn't have to be a Castle Aiden character. You can reach out and say you want a Wolverine. You can reach out and say you want Catwoman. You can say you want Penguin. So he can do whoever. One of the things that we're going to do for issue 2 is a dueling sketch thing where we have 2 artists, and it'll probably end up being $250. It might be $300 by the time we do it. But you can we'll set it up to where you can tune in and watch the 2 artists kind of go to battle. It'll be a friendly thing. It'll be more of a jam session. But each of them will draw whoever. You get to pick who. So say you draw Wolverine. Justin Stewart will be on one side, or DJ Hall, and Jason will be on the other. And you get to watch them for that 20, 30 minutes. Draw your Wolverine, draw your Batman. And then you get to tell them, who won. But also during that process, you'll get to kind of see how artists do it and interact with each other. And you can ask a question or two as they're going. And it'll just be something different and fun. And you will get both sketches too, by the way. Part of that fee. Once they're finished, we will mail both of those sketches too.
Have you ever seen Todd McFarlane drawing online?
Yeah, I've watched Todd a few times.
On his tablet, how he uses the pen, he does it on a tablet.
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, a lot of artists do digital. There are still some that do original art and do it on the big pieces of paper and everything. But a lot of people these days do digital. And really, there's not, to me, a huge drop-off in quality. There are some things, I think, with original art that kind of add a cool and a wow factor that you can do.
Yeah.
But there's also some stuff on digital that you can't really do with original. So it does give you some creativity that you can use there. So both sides really have some pros to them.
And here's your team.
Yeah, this is the team for book 1. And, me, DJ, and Jason are going to be on every single issue of Castle Aiden, until they get tired of me. If DJ or Jason get tired of me, I'll have to go a different route. But right now, they're both fired up and pumped up, and we're excited. So hopefully we can stay that way for a long, 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 long time. But, that crew, the top line there, they'll be with me on every single one. Obviously, the cover artist will change some because Derek won't be on every single issue. That'll be something that we kind of change out here and there. But what's that say down there, Dave?
How much for Josh to draw me a tasteful nude of Dave?
Oh, I can't draw. Can I get Jason to do it?
I think that's what he meant. He gets
it might
Darren thinks Darren's into country music, and I think he keeps calling Jason Turner Josh Turner.
Okay. I would have a lot more money in my bank account. It wouldn't be a problem to fund a comic book.
I hope everybody gets behind this and wants to be part of it. And you ought to consider making it where a person could actually be drawn into a panel as a backup character.
We have. That's going to be an option.
Okay.
On either issue 2 or 3.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll believe this or not, but Amy did that on the Arn Anderson comic book.
She's told me that. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
She probably told you more than once.
Just twice.
The only story in our group that gets told more is Jimmy went to Japan, but
Okay.
but Amy runs a close second with all things Arn Anderson.
Yeah, the cover artist spot there will also have 3 new names on the next one because we have Tone Rodriguez, Mike Ruth, and Ken Salinas all doing covers for issue 2 as well. And Mike Ruth is actually doing covers for Red Sonja right now. He has some covers that are out at the comic book shop right this second that are amazing. He's did some Conan covers as well in the past. So I'm really looking forward to what Mike does with our world.
Yeah. And yeah, when he says Red Sonja, he is talking about the same character that Bridget Nelson played back in the day.
Absolutely. That Red Sonja is still ticking and still has a monthly comic book that comes out. Now, they've took some long breaks with it. Now, I will tell you, Conan, the comic book, is amazing. It's amazing. It's one of the top 10 best comic books still coming out on a monthly basis.
Wow.
Jim Zub writes it, and it is amazing. I have the first 3. Let's see. So I have the first 3 trade paperbacks right here in this nice little sleeve thing. But this was of his collection. And yeah, this series is amazing.
I used to have a set of cards that had a lot of Conan in them. Boris Vallejo or something like that.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact,
I'll butcher some last names.
I probably still have those cards.
Right.
Yeah. The next time that you got some time when you're in Mississippi, you've needed to come see the Wrestle Cave, but
absolutely,
just the comic stuff that I still have is pretty impressive.
Yes, but if people aren't reading it though, Conan, check it out. It's amazing. You wouldn't think there were still fresh stories that you could tell with a character as old as Conan, but they're still coming out at a high level.
That's incredible. Before we pivot and get away from the comic books, what's good and different that you're getting what are you into at the comic book store right now that's not your core DC Marvel standout characters?
Yeah, well, today I was going to bring up Diorc, so I'll zoom it in here a little bit.
Let me expand you out there. There you go.
I was going to show this one off today. This is by Brett Bean, and it's a fantasy book. You would think a lot like the one that we wrote, but it's not. It's very different. It's animated, got the cartoon feel. I wouldn't be surprised if when this is done, they end up making it a little animated show. Let me pull up one of the spread pages here. So you got like the artwork there. That was a really cool page in this book. But it's a fantasy world, and it's about a half dwarf, half dork, or half orc. And one side is light, one side is dark. And the two sides hate each other. And there's a prophecy talking about, somebody will bring the end of the world, and they come from the light and the dark. And so everybody wants to kill Diorc because he's the only one known at this time that's half dwarf and half orc. So everybody's trying to kill him. So every issue is him like running into some crazy scenario. And in this issue, we actually got to find out something about his past that I won't spoil because it just came out yesterday.
What number are you on?
This is number 6, which means they're also about to make a trade paperback of it. Because usually these days they put either 5 or 6 issues and then make it a trade if it's popular enough. So the trade for Diorc will be coming out. I'm not sure the exact date, but I know it's within like a month, 6 weeks. So you could actually get issue 7 next month at your comic book shop, wait a week or 2 to read it, buy the trade paperback, read your 1 through 6, and then be caught up.
Yeah, every time I try to go back and read, and I love getting the individual issues.
Right.
But it never fails that there's going to be one book out of the 6 that was super popular and you can't find it.
Right. Yeah. It was easier to get back issues back in the day than it is now. They make a more limited print these days than they used to. Plus, you could send stuff back then. So if something didn't sell, as long as it wasn't damaged, you could send it back or get a credit. and then it could rotate. So retailers were fine ordering more copies because they knew they could at least get a credit, and just keep it rolling with the next thing they want to order and rotate and do. But now, like, you're stuck with it. So if you buy it as a retailer and you can't sell it, that's just money you're eating. So they don't order quite as many extras as they used to. Now, there is a good place called My Comic Shop online, which is based out of Texas, that has a huge back issue collection. And I've been able to pick up a lot of stuff through them. They don't have everything, but they have a lot of stuff. And they kind of helped me when I was getting back into it, get some of the single issues that I wanted. Now, trade paperbacks, you can either get at your comic shop, and Amazon's actually good with trade paperbacks too. They're not the best in the world at single issues. They're actually horrible at single issues. But as far as trades go, they do a pretty fair job.
Yeah, it's nice having. I like the trade paperbacks.
I do too, and they're easier to keep up with. Loose floppies can get a little hard, especially if you're collecting. Let's say you're collecting 25 titles a month. It takes you 4 months to get 100 single issues running around your house. That can be a little complicated to store and to sort.
Oh, I've got a whole bookshelf in there that are hardcovers, the greatest action comics ever, stories told, or the greatest Batman stories, or the greatest Golden Age stories, and they're like encyclopedias. But they've got all the books.
Oh yeah, and you can get so many. One of the things, let's see, we were talking about Robin earlier. This is the best thing to get your start on Tim Drake. I bought this, and I think it's, let's see if I can see a page count. No, I don't see a page count on the front or back, but it's thick.
Oh, wow.
It's 600, 700 pages, whatever. It was $60. But, I mean, it's just all the Tim Drake stories from the 90s are in here that Chuck Dixon wrote.
I always liked Tim Drake.
Tim Drake was awesome.
For as much as I didn't like Jason Todd, I liked Tim Drake.
Now, Dick Grayson was my favorite, and that's why I still love Nightwing, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Tim Drake. Damian's even an interesting character. You're getting to see a lot more Damian in the comic books these days. And, he has a little bit of a temper, and he's a little violent.
Yeah, he's a little asshole for sure.
Yeah, but you got to remember how he was raised. I mean,
yeah.
Who trained him and who taught him, and he's just kind of getting acquainted to having a little mercy and a little different view on things.
For those that don't know, Damian Wayne is Batman's illegitimate son with Talia al Ghul. So Ra's al Ghul is his grandfather.
Yes. And most of his upbringing was done through them, not Batman.
Yeah, he learned from the League of Assassins. By the time Batman got him.
So if you've seen any of the Christian Bale movies, just think about Damian hanging out with all that.
Yeah.
And then imagine how good of a kid you would come out.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about a little wrestling. We got some wrestling coming up this weekend, Josh.
Yeah, West Monroe. We always look forward to our West Monroe shows. We just celebrated 19 years in May, and our very first show was in West Monroe back in May of 2007. So we always get excited about West Monroe. I sold 100 tickets just yesterday. We can hold about 400, but I sold about 100 yesterday, and we'd already sold about 180 or so. So I probably got about 100 left. Now, I don't know what sold today. I was too busy to go by the outlet today. So I would like to think we have about 100 left, but it might be a little less than that. But yeah, I pulled the tickets tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I'll be up at the office until 4 o'clock. And you can still get tickets at the door, but they will be 20 at the door. You can get them for 15 if you grab them tomorrow. So if you plan on bringing a group, please stop by that office by 4. I'll probably even be up at the office, honestly, till about 4:15. So, but please, if you're bringing a group, save that money and come grab them.
All right. We got highway robbery. Like again, Josh said, we're at the West Monroe Convention Center. Doors open at 7. Bell time 7:30. we have Christian Blake versus Frankie Thomas.
Yeah, they're no strangers to each other, and this is one of those. I hate to call them underrated, but I guess they're both a little underrated if you look at the big picture of things. But they're both so solid. Like, you're never going to get bad.
No.
Like, even if they have an off night, it's just not going to be bad. It's still going to be quality. It's still going to be solid. It's still going to be good.
Both of these guys are, I mean, they're seasoned veterans. Both of them been around for almost 20 years.
Yeah. And they both improved so much since the first time I saw them, too. I mean, I've told the story about Frankie before and going to his house and watching him wrestle in his backyard and, just different things and thinking, I'll never book this guy.
Yeah.
And then, he just kept working and kept showing up and kept getting better and trained with Cassidy Riley and bugged the crap out of John Saxon. And he would come help with the ring and do stuff with me. And then finally, he worked his way in. And then from there, he actually became a very, 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 very valued member of the team. And he's been with me, I think, second longest out of the current group behind Steve Anthony.
And then he's so good.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
so good in the ring. I often compare Frankie Thomas to Buddy Roberts.
Yeah, he has a lot
his
of
heel work.
Sure.
He's the straw that stirs the drink. And Christian Blake, he's so solid. He almost got me killed. He almost got me killed in Homa.
That doesn't surprise me. It's easy to almost get killed at home.
Yeah.
Especially at a wrestling show.
Yeah, they found out that they didn't like me right out of the gate because he got a pin on Houston Carson and they were in the ropes. So Houston should not have lost the match. And I came out and told DJ, the other referee, what had happened. And they restarted the match and Carson stole the win. And the crowd was not happy with the new guy.
Yeah, they love Christian Blake down in Homa. So
they do.
You definitely messed up there.
Then we have the BIW Southern Heavyweight Champion, Alex Arsenal, teaming with Ray Fury against Rob Love and Dylan Scott, members of Bayou Kingdom.
Yeah, you got the Bayou Kingdom showing up and going against two of our fan favorites. Obviously, Arsenal's kind of had problems with Rob ever since he came back, but Ray's been right there with Arsenal, kind of watching his back and trying to help him guide through these crazy waters. But it's been an adventure, and this is the main event of the night. So that means everybody will be trying their best to get to the pay window for sure.
Oh, yeah. Ain't no telling what's going to happen with Rob Love in the building.
No, I'm sure I'll have to protect him. I always end up doing security when Rob Love's around.
Yeah.
Especially in Brookhaven.
I got a nap courtesy of Rob last time. I did not expect that.
I sent my wife to check on you.
She walked right by. The video shows that she just could not have cared any less whether or not I was okay.
Now the world sees what I got to deal with. That's how much sympathy and compassion I give.
She's probably thinking, well, you should have got out of the ring. You saw him coming.
Yeah. Haven't you been around long enough to know, Dave?
Yeah. Hunter Law and Steve Anthony. Hunter Law has been picking at Steve Anthony for months and months and months. He's mocking him, copying him. And now be careful what you wish for because you're going to get it.
Yeah, Hunter actually beat Steve Anthony earlier this year in the Lafayette area.
Right.
For their title down there. So and they've wrestled here before too with Steve Anthony getting his hand raised. So this is one of those that's very 50-50. Either guy could win. They're both so technical and so talented. Hunter ran Jay Lethal's wrestling school for a while. Steve Anthony, of course, as I've said before, ran Harley Race's wrestling school for a while. Both can trade submissions, get in and out of holds, do all the ground stuff you could want. But they also have that mean streak where they'll just punch you in the mouth as well. So this will be interesting. There's a good chance that this is your match of the night.
Hunter has a new move that he did. I watched him. He had a video earlier a training video, and he put this kid in a move where he tied him up like a pretzel, and it was like it almost looked like a sharpshooter into a pinning. I mean, it wasn't for a submission, it was for a pin.
Right.
I mean, he had the guy. I don't know how you kick out when you're tied up like that.
Yeah, Hunter's very creative.
And he gets into it almost like an Oklahoma roll. It's an impressive move.
Well, we'll see if we see it Saturday.
I'm excited for this one, Josh. Jesse the Dragon Heart. I'm high on this kid.
He's going to have his hands full because he's going to be outweighed by 100 and something pounds.
Oh yeah, Corey Steed's a man and a half.
Yeah, he's got that Stan Hansen vibe going.
And you never know who's going to be waiting in the wings with Bayou Kingdom.
Yeah, he's going to have his hands full for his debut. I ain't saying he can't come out on top, but it's a tough way of making your debut.
But I'm excited, super excited to see Jesse the Dragon Heart making his way to Bayou Independent Wrestling. Him and Sammy Ryder, two that I've been really, really high on.
Right.
And I hate Sammy's hurt, and he's had 2 surgeries on his ankle, and we're praying for him and hope he gets well soon.
Absolutely. He was
hate to see him get sidelined because he was on his way
to debut in November, but things happen, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah. All right, Stella Wren versus Killer Kate.
Yep, it's Stella's debut with us. She's never been in a BIW ring before. Killa's actually, the former women's champion who's making her return to West Monroe after losing her belt, even though she didn't get pinned. She likes to bring that up.
Yeah.
Cassidy Riley made it a triple threat match, kind of unbeknownst to Kate, and she lost her title without taking a pin, and she is not a happy camper, which means Stella has her hands full because Kate's going to try and put her in every submission on the man.
And Kate's normally not in a good mood as a rule,
right?
And but I believe I've worked with Stella once, and I'm familiar with her work. She's really, really, really talented young lady.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's definitely going to put up a fight no matter what.
And
Kate does have a lot of experience on her though, and she has that kind of angry. So it'll be interesting to see if Stella is able to kind of use that anger against her and maybe kind of sneak her with a little bit and kind of get a one-up on her, or if Kate's able to take that anger and just kind of wipe the floor.
I think that Stella has everything to gain, and Kate really has everything to lose here.
Yeah, I mean, Kate's the one that's a former champion. Kate's the one on TV. Kate's the one that wants another shot at Cassandra Golden. You lose to somebody that's debuting, and you're probably not getting the next shot at the women's champ. That's just not how that works. So, yeah, Kate has a lot to lose for sure. And then, of course, after the show, we got our El Paso thing that we do after every West Monroe show.
Margaritas and senoritas.
Yep, it's going to be one of the biggest quesadillas you've ever got if you're a quesadilla fan. The margarita, do not get a large.
No.
Get a small or a medium if you have to drive, maybe even if you have to ride. It's good food and good times. We usually have anywhere from 35 people to 80 people back there, and we're telling stories, joking, laughing, talking about the show, talking about the next show, eating good food, talking Mid-South wrestling, just having fun.
Yeah, I had the carne asada the last couple times I've been there and really, really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's Caleb Conley's favorite anytime he's in town, the current JCW World Heavyweight Champion. He's a big carne asada fan from there because the steak hangs off your plate. It's so big that it doesn't even fit on the plate. Man, I'm so thrilled for Caleb with the success that he's having. Yeah, Caleb's a great dude, great wrestler. I love that they're giving him some spotlight on JCW. He's also been in a decent amount of TV shows and stuff. And he's got his picture on the belt. Yeah, that's neat. I figured you would like that. Oh, I popped for it. I love that he did a spot for your Kickstarter. Yeah, that's really cool of him. Even Caleb wants y'all to check out the Kickstarter. I saw Caleb in Nashville at GalaxyCon. Nice. When I walked in the door, he was right up front there at the where you would go and get your professional photo op. Nice. And they were actually him and Hunter. They had wrestling there. Okay. Yeah, a lot of cons do have wrestling and stuff, and as I start traveling to more and more of them next year with the comic book, I'll definitely see if I can get BIW involved with one or two of the projects.
I had a very short visit to GalaxyCon. It was part of Jeff Jarrett's Asylum weekend, and we got to stop up there, and they had several wrestlers there, but I didn't know that Caleb and them were doing the wrestling, and I think they had them where they were dressing up as comic book characters doing
Right.
it.
Yeah, a lot of times he plays the what's his name, the Star Fox, or the guy that's in charge of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I can see that.
He plays that guy a lot at different cons and different things.
Well, we've talked about panels, we've talked about pile drivers. Let's talk about plates.
Yes, food. We love food around
We
here.
do love food. You were telling me that you found a new spot.
Yeah, we try to. Well, we don't mind driving 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, and then when we travel, we're always looking for places that have been on like Guy's show on Food Network.
That's how we travel.
We base vacations sometimes off of that, to be honest with
you. We stopped in North Carolina at a little place. It was off the road a bit, but we stopped because we'd heard you go in there, they had like the best hamburger. It was like $1.25.
Right.
And it was just we got chicken fried steak and a burger, and it was everything they said it was going to be.
Nice. Now locally, we try everything eventually. You know, it might take us a few months, but we try everything eventually. So Tuesday night we ate at Coco's, which is Chef Corey Barr's place. It's right across the street from Parrish. For those in town, he owns Parrish and he owns Coco, but it is delicious. It's sushi, so I mean, but you don't have to like sushi. You can go the noodle route, fried rice. They have some appetizers and different things.
Some dumplings, Wagyu beef.
Exactly. The best thing we got was actually a dumpling. It was a pork gazu dumpling that had like a chili sauce and some green onions and a few other things going on, and it was immaculate. It was great. For those that don't know Chef Corey, he actually won an episode of Chopped. He's also was on the next Food Network star, and he beat Bobby Flay in that episode.
Oh,
so like the man can cook. You wouldn't be able to win an episode of Chopped and then be invited to the Food Network star thing. He's up for a James Beard right now, so like he can cook. It's something that Monroe, Louisiana,
and wrestling fans, James Beard is a chef, not
Yeah.
not the legendary referee.
No. The legendary award is just as legendary as the referee, just in a different world. But yeah, the man can cook, and
congratulations to James Beard, the referee, because he was inducted into the Waterloo Tragos Thez Hall of Fame this past weekend.
I saw that. We've had James several times at BIW.
Well deserved.
Love having James around. But yeah, Chef Corey, we're blessed in Monroe to have 2 restaurants that he's in charge of, and he was there. I mean, he said hey to us while we were there. But he talked to a few other tables too. So, I mean, he's putting in the work and walking back and forth between the 2 restaurants that are right across the street from each other, making sure they serve high quality. But I would definitely recommend Coco and Parrish, for that matter, right across the street.
What kind of food does Parrish have?
Now, Parrish is kind of your southern gourmet. It's going to have like red fish, but with some fancy vegetables and some sauces and different things. He has a good shrimp and grits over there. He puts quail on the menu sometimes that I always get. I love his quail. He makes his pasta. He's the only place in West Monroe that make their pasta fresh every day. So there's always at least 3 pastas on his menu over there at Parrish. So I a lot of times end up getting the pasta. He does do some steaks with some different cuts and everything. He loves Wagyu. Soft shell crab. He's a big fan of soft shell crab. So you can get a lot of creative southern dishes over there.
Cool. Well, check this out, Coco. If you're in the Monroe area, or you're just passing through,
and it's worth the drive too. So if you're in Crossett, Vicksburg, Shreveport, even though Shreveport does have a lot of amazing food too, it's worth the drive. You know, just try and put it on your calendar for a weekend or something.
319 North 2nd Street, Monroe, Louisiana, 71201.
Absolutely. And that was our first time there, but it won't be our last for sure.
I'm gonna have to look at the menu to see if there's anything Stephanie will eat.
I bet you she will at least like some stuff at Parrish.
Yeah, Parrish would be no problem with it.
And to me, Parrish is the best restaurant in town. It's not necessarily my favorite because there's other ones that I go to more often because of the price points or the location or the in and out. Because like you got to do a reservation at Parrish 99% of the time, and you're probably gonna spend $100 if you and your wife go to Parrish. But it's the best restaurant in town. My favorite is probably El Paso or something that I go to all the time. Merlin's. I went to Pops today, which is a little food truck, which are all places that we're going to talk about at some point on this show.
There's a barbecue place down there by Marty and Mark's.
Yes, Jock's.
Yes,
it's delicious. We'll definitely talk about that place.
I have no problem getting Stephanie down to Jock's.
Okay, you have no problem getting me and Kristen there with you. So
we'll have to do that because my wife's an extremely picky eater.
Okay.
She doesn't do vegetables. I mean, she if they say, "Would you like a baked potato or fries?" She normally just says yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, or doubled up on the fries because she doesn't eat vegetables.
Right.
She eats beef. She'll eat catfish.
She'd have been a good cowboy.
Yeah. She likes what she likes, and she's not messing around with. And she likes pasta.
Okay. Well,
we have a very good Italian restaurant over in Clinton, Mississippi, which is about 45 minutes from where we live. It's called Roma's, and it's incredible.
Okay.
I'll go so far as say it is the best Italian food I've ever had.
Okay, nice.
So sometimes she'll say, "Hey, you want to go get a steak tonight?" I'm like, "Well, no, if we're being honest, I'd rather go eat the Italian because
right.
I mean, I can do a steak at the house.
And you can still get a steak at the Italian restaurant usually if you really want to. They usually offer like sirloin or something.
Yeah, if I'm paying $35 for an entree, then give me something that I don't do just as well at the house.
Right.
So, chicken cacciatore or chicken piccata, or they got all these different chicken dishes and
I'm a big ravioli guy when I go Italian, so.
Oh, they have a fried ravioli appetizer. I think fried lobster raviolis.
Sounds delicious.
Yes. Now I'm hungry.
Me too. We got to end this podcast so I can go eat now.
We'll do it. I'm excited that we're doing this, Josh, and we'll be more going forward. We'll be more. Tonight was just an introduction, so we wanted to throw it out, and I'm excited about doing this, and I'm excited to get back into comic books. I'm gonna head over to Vans, and I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna jump back in. There's gonna be some Batman involved.
Now, don't think that they have a small selection. I don't know if you went down the steps and into the very back of the
Oh my God, the gaming!
Yeah, it's got a ton of stuff down there.
I can't believe how many people were there just to game that night.
Oh yeah, but if you go in and you go to the left and you go down those steps, there's a whole comic room down there.
Oh, I walked the whole thing.
Okay, because it's got like 200 boxes of comics in that room.
Yeah, I remember. I've been over there when they were at the old place, and it was not anywhere near that size.
Right.
But I dealt with Comic Commander right down the street from him.
Okay.
And that's where I would go a lot. I mean, that's when I was doing most of my collecting.
When I first started, I forget the name of the shop that I used to ride my bike to, but when I really, really got into it as a 15, 16-year-old, Clint's Comics was my favorite. Clint's since passed away, but I wish Clint was still around. That's one thing I want to say. I wish Clint was still around to see this comic book that we're putting out, because he would have been a big supporter of it. He would have been behind it 100%.
Yeah, I may have to get the retailer pack, and of course I'll have to get mine autographed, and we'll put them on the gimmick table when we're all around.
Oh yeah,
when I'm around on the loop.
Absolutely.
Working the other shows.
Wrestling and comics go well together.
Yeah, it's the same level of nerd. When I was a kid, nerd wasn't a good thing. Now we rule the world.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with it now.
And we'll rule the world again next week on Triple P, Panels, Pile Drivers, and Plates with Josh Newell. Josh, this was great. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and we'll see everybody next week.
See you next time.